A people pleaser is someone who abandons their authentic response to other people during interactions, who abandons their own choices of what to do, what to say, who to be, and they opt instead to try to guess what other people want them to be. Do you know someone like this, or do you find yourself people-pleasing others? You may think that you're making other people happy, but what they're noticing about you is that you're angry. And I want to tell you why. Now, as you know, I'm not a therapist. I'm someone who worked hard to change my own trauma-driven relating patterns. And for more than 25 years, I've coached people who need to heal this part of their lives too. Now, if you grew up with an emotionally unstable or immature parent, you may have adopted people-pleasing as a survival strategy to figure out what that parent wanted you to be or do or say. And then you did whatever you had to do to give them what they wanted and keep them from blowing up or falling apart, which would have endangered your safety at the time. It would have blown your life apart if they were to fall apart. So you had to do what you had to do. And most people who protected themselves this way in childhood have a hard time not doing it in adulthood. But they don't get what they want is the trouble. Not really. And this is where the anger starts. People-pleasing is the act of changing yourself to make other people like you, trying to match their interests and values, flattering them, hiding how you really think and feel in hopes that they'll let you in and keep you in their lives. But if you're feeling like the people you like and want in your life, you call them, you invite them to things, you listen to them when they are having a hard time, but they don't do the same for you, the first thing you want to look at is whether you're people-pleasing. You might believe that all you're doing is trying to make them happy, but the truth is, and I'm going to be very tough love here, people-pleasing is manipulation, and people don't like it. And it will, in the end, cost you true friendships with the people that you're trying to please. People-pleasing is really common for those of us who were abused and neglected in childhood, and it's like a reflex to survive at any cost. But the only thing is, you're signing up for it, staying attached to people who don't ever reciprocate your listening and concern, and thinking that if you keep tap dancing around them, they will come around. Healing starts with becoming willing to honestly be yourself. And for somebody who had unstable, volatile parents, this can feel totally terrifying. And your mind will struggle to see this, but will tend to see it in black and white. Either you act like a hedonistic, selfish tyrant, or you hide all your true thoughts and feelings and dance around to make other people happy. But of course, it's not one or the other. Acting however you please with other people isn't automatically the right thing to do. Being selfish won't work either. Nobody likes someone who's a blowhard or insensitive to how they're affecting other people. But people do tend to like and respect someone who can simultaneously be considerate and aware of other people and be themselves. They care about how they treat you, but they don't worry whether you approve of everything about them. You can probably think of people who you consider to be accomplished and cool, because that's basically what being cool is, being free of any self-contortion for the sake of approval. People who have a mission in life, especially when it's different from the status quo, can't afford to fit in with everything that already exists. And the pressure is always there. But their focus is on what they're doing, what they're creating. And that's why the biographies of innovators and heroes so often have a turning point moment in their stories, where one day they had to be brave and they had to stand up and be different than other people. It might not have been easy, but sometimes it's the only way to move your story forward in history or in your life. You have to be brave. You have to be willing to be unpopular, at least at first, and you have to really, really work on yourself so that you understand the difference between being true to yourself and just being selfish. This is the difference between being honest and brutally honest. And I'll get to that in a moment. Even the small ways that you people please can end up costing you. For one thing, trying to make other people like you, it doesn't work. Think about your own experience when someone was people-pleasing you. They're falling all over themselves. They're agreeing with everything you say. They're laughing too hard at your jokes. It's weird. It just is. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. Or they're saying yes when you ask for something, when they mean no, which eventually becomes clear because they're angry or they're being passive aggressive or letting you down. But it was like a trap they set for you, right? Offering support to you, then resenting you because they felt forced to support you. Dealing with a people pleaser does not feel good. Sometimes we all have to do unpleasant things to help other people when we're responsible for them or when they truly are helpless. It's sometimes the right thing to grit your teeth and give the help that's needed to someone. But if you're just trying to avoid conflict or just trying to look like a good person and you're doing some favor for another person resentfully, you're not actually doing them a favor. You're leaking resentment into their lives. In fact, you're making things harder for everyone. And sometimes people pleasers then go on to make things still harder by holding on to the idea that I just did this for you and you're not even grateful. That's the thought, right? People aren't always grateful. But if you're going around doing nice things for people they didn't ask for in hopes they'll give you something that you want, something not spoken but expected, like companionship or praise or inclusion in a group. Well, if you're doing that, you're headed for trouble because you've gotten tangled up in the most insidious forms of people-pleasing, hoping someone will finally fall in love with you, as an example. And what happens? The people-pleaser ends up pissed off that their niceness didn't give them what they want. And after all they've done for that other person too, the nerve, right? When you're in that disappointment, the veneer of niceness crumbles away very fast, and it becomes plain to everyone that the people pleaser wasn't acting out of generosity or sweetness. They were trying to control the other person. It doesn't feel good to be on the receiving end of that. You can't make people like you. Pretending to be someone you're not is, and I told you this is tough love, but it's manipulation. Yeah, it is. And manipulation to any healthy person has a bad feeling to it. Our heart snaps shut and, we just shut down. We're out of there. People-pleasing doesn't just push people away. If you live your life on a false basis day after day, year after year, stuffing how you feel, justifying how you go along with things you hate, you can end up forgetting who you really are. You can end up in a life that you never wanted, fighting about things that aren't worth fighting for. Even if you win, all you get is something you didn't actually want. Next thing you know, you've developed real skill in hiding from your own common sense, and that can put you in danger. This is what I call crap fit. You teach yourself to ignore what you're noticing and feeling just so someone won't get mad at you. In other words, fitting yourself to crap. Now, I advise you not to become good at crap fitting. That's like being good at being a hostage. Yes, a kidnapper's nice to you here and there, but you never get out. And that's how abuse happens. It's how people stay and how abusers get away with it. Staying safe from harm in the short run is survival. But staying like that for a long time is a waste of your life, and it'll leave you feeling pissed off, burnt out, and taken for granted. People-pleasing doesn't win real love. It's not attractive, it's not interesting, it's a turn-off, really. People who don't like themselves enough to be themselves and who are not sincerely interested in other people can be kind of draining to be around. They say they're not angry, but you can feel it. There's never any harmony. And it's understandable how people pleasers get that way. They had to do it to survive. It's good to learn to listen to other people, to care about them, and it's good to set them free to be themselves, not getting bent out of shape over whether they're giving you what you want or what you thought you would get if you did everything you thought they wanted. It's good to be polite, but if you resent someone because they don't give you what you want, just move on. Find people whose company you like, people worth listening to, people who listen to you, people who take turns with you, initiating contact, making a plan, or opening up emotionally. You have to leave a space sometimes to let them do that without rushing it, without trying to take the temperature on their feelings all the time. That's one of the things about childhood PTSD. If you didn't get adequate attention paid to you when you were little, you can put too much pressure on other people to be the thing that feels like it's missing. And if they can't deliver, you're hard on them. And this is one of the reasons childhood PTSD is so closely linked with loneliness. Even when you want to be close to people, you're unconsciously doing things to push them away. But healing is possible. Sometimes all you need is to take the next step. And that's how healing happens. A little at a time, staying focused, not giving up, and going, screw it. Because a little failure is just a temporary setback. Keep trying. Persevere. There are dozens of ways that early trauma can disrupt your ability to feel at ease in the company of other people, to feel connected. And if you want to check out some of these and see if it's affecting you, I have a free PDF you can download listing the signs that trauma has affected your ability to connect with other people. You can get that by clicking right here, and I will see you very soon.